Removing lust from your life through desexualization. Over the last year, I've made a massive transformation with desexualizing my brain, and it's brought on a lot of different epiphanies and realizations that I've had about how corrupted my brain was, how falsely wired my brain was, not just because of porn and masturbation, but so many different areas. And I don't think it's fully until you've removed yourself from it for an extended period of time that you can actually see just how controlled and shackled and how much of a slave you are to women, sex, vagina, society, your whole career path and your desires and your dopamine. There is so much of your entire life that is influenced by these things. I want to talk about my own experience because, look, I'm 35 years old. For the longest time, like I started watching porn and masturbating at a very young age, maybe like, I don't even know, maybe 10 or 12 years old. It's been a very long time. I don't know the age exactly at this point. And this is not a how to stop watching porn video. It goes far beyond that. That is a big part of it. But I mean, I've been off of porn for quite some time, and I've had bigger realizations over the last year. And so it started initially with porn and masturbation. I want to take you guys through this journey, and there will be valuable nuggets throughout this whole thing that you should be injecting into your own life, because you need to really have clarity on what you actually want in life. And the more that you're shackled and a slave to these things, the more corrupted your brain is, the more corrupted your thoughts are. And honestly, it will even put you in a position where I'm not exaggerating, I don't think you could genuinely be happy in a relationship. All right? And that's crazy to think about. And it's crazy to think that even 1 year ago, I was still in a kind of a messed up place mentally around all of these concepts. So yeah, growing up in my teens, in my 20s, and even in my early 30s, I was watching porn and masturbation and masturbating. I was never crazy addict to porn, maybe in my teens. But like over the last 5+ years, like it hasn't been a problem. And I was never the guy that was like spending all day like fapping and stuff. But honestly, like there were points in my journey where I would do it 2-3 times a day. It's crazy to think that I didn't even think it was a problem back then, because I would literally just do the thing. I would even do it rather quickly and just kind of be on with my day and not even think anything of it. And I didn't even realize that it negatively influenced my first relationship. I had a relationship from 20 to 25 years old. And through that whole period, I was still watching porn and masturbating a lot. And it wasn't until I started really diving deeper into self-development in my mid to late 20s that the whole nofap thing became a trending thing, right? This idea that nofap gives you powers and it gives you more confidence with women and stuff. And so for me, as a guy who was getting better with self-development and confidence and cold approach, I thought, oh, this might actually stack on pretty nicely to help me with those things. So I started looking into it more and more. But what I actually realized was that in my mid to late 20s, I had extreme levels of performance anxiety when it came to sexual performance in the bedroom. There was a lot of women that I avoided the situation altogether out of potential embarrassment that I wasn't going to be able to get aroused, or I was going to disappoint them, or I wasn't going to be able to perform at the expectation that I had even created for myself by running like a really good interaction with a lot of these women. And so I can attribute almost all of that to the idea of watching a relatively excessive amount of porn, like rather frequently, and masturbating very frequently throughout my teens and the first half of my 20s. And so once I became aware of this stuff, I then moved into switching over to nofap, not fapping, not jerking off. And I slowly rewired my brain to get back into the arousal process so I could actually get aroused with women and move forward sexually with girls that I wanted to get intimate with, that I was previously just avoiding those situations altogether. Now, fast forward, I ended up dating my current girlfriend when I had just turned 30. So this was like about 5 years ago. And as we started hooking up more and more, I didn't really think it was a big deal anymore, because I was very comfortable around her. I was crushing shit in the bedroom for a very long time. And so periodically I would just watch a little bit of porn and masturbate from time to time. It was not frequently, but there would be periods where we weren't we weren't hooking up, or she would be, I don't know, I wouldn't see her for a couple of days at a time, or, periods would go by where I was just horny, and so I would put it on and do it, not thinking anything of it really, because it was innocent, and I loved my girlfriend, and I didn't really think anything of it, and I continued to do it rather infrequently, but I was still doing it, right? And then on top of all of that, I really started to get big into the idea of pickup, cold approach, dating, and I was hyper fixated on all of these things because my first girlfriend left me for another man when I was 25. And so that beat me down, and I was really weak after she left me. And so that's really what propelled me to get really, really powerful with cold approach and pickup and dating. I created this new identity of a guy who could not be hurt by women anymore, right? And so I dove super deep into cold approach, dating, casual dating, really, where the girls wanted to get in relationships with me, but I was not ever looking for a serious relationship, partially due to the trauma of being in the past relationship and how I really got hurt with it all. But if you stack all of these elements together and you throw red pill into the mix, you're stuck with a pickup guy who is continuously going out trying to get lays, trying to get validation from sex, trying to get another notch on his belt, watching porn for more arousal, then going out and objectifying women constantly to see which of these girls is the hottest, which of the girls could I imagine having sex with, which of the girls could I actually go up and approach and turn into dates and get lays and get more validation from and casually date them for an extended period of time. And as you can imagine, you throw all of that into the mix, and then creating my main channel, Coach Kyle, it's based around pickup and dating, but it was initially created for a lot of these reasons. And I've evolved this over the years, so I'm not saying that that's really what the channel is all about, but I definitely can honestly admit that there was, at least partially, it was created for the wrong reason. I would attribute a big reason to why it was created was because it did transform my own communication and my life and my confidence, and I wanted to help other men also go through that. But there was another part of a reason as to why I got into pickup, which was this hurt kid that got really hurt by his first relationship, and he created an identity of a guy that would never get hurt by women again. So when you stack all of this together, you could imagine that there's a very chaotic situation going on. And so the first couple of years of the relationship, I couldn't even fully commit. Straight up. Like, even though we were in a relationship, I couldn't really commit to the relationship. And I was constantly going out, looking around, thinking about all of these different concepts. And so it really wasn't until we broke up about a year ago, it was last February or March, and I decided I was going to actually do 100 days of celibacy and sign up for therapy. Simultaneously, I went fully sober. I started taking therapy on a weekly basis, and I committed to 100 days of celibacy. And what I learned, and I still go to a weekly therapy at this point, and I'm still sober. So we're at the end of March. It's been a year at this point, fully sober, no weed, no alcohol, no nicotine, nothing, no hard drugs. And through that whole process, I realized how attached to sex and the validation of sex and objectifying women and going out and looking for the attractive girl and trying to scan the environment to find the girl's ass that I liked, that was really just hardwired into my brain due to my upbringing of the girls that I would masturbate to online. Like, is this starting to come full picture? No pun intended, but it's all starting to come together, right? Because it starts with you watching porn and masturbating to it. That is the first part of it. And now that's not everybody, because there's a lot of guys that don't watch that much porn or watch porn at all, or maybe even masturbate at all, but you still have an identity built around the idea of validation from sex and the power you get from sex, or the validation you get from the girl actually submitting to you, or you just getting laid. There are a lot of concepts around those things, and it's not until you remove yourself for an extended period of time to really reset yourself. You need to fully remove yourself from the situation and let an extended period of time go by for you to actually stop being influenced by it. Like, for me, I think it's safe to say at this point, it's been a full year. I haven't been celibate the whole year, but I mean, there was probably less than I'd say maybe a handful of partners after the 100 days of celibacy once we broke up. And then this year we got back together, right? And by the way, when we broke up, I was not out on a rampage. I was actually very selective because I had just done 100 days of celibacy and I started to detach from sex and the need of getting the validation from going on dates and lays. And so I started to be more and more selective about the girls that I was talking to, and I started to slow down the dating and courtship process and started to see these women for who they really were. And what I realized was, damn, all the girls that I was wanking it to and obsessing over and making a big deal about all of these women, like I don't even actually connect with a lot of these girls. And having taken sex off the table for an extended period of time, I don't even really want to be with these women. Like what it really boils down to is I don't even really want to be with these women, right? And that's actually a big reason as to why I got back with my girl. After letting almost a full year go by, and a big chunk of that was complete no contact while I just went and worked on myself, we decided earlier this year, about a month, 2 months ago, to start slowly getting back into dating and see where things go. And even then, sex was off the table for a while, right? Because I want you to start to realize how much the idea of sex and validation from around those things is influencing you. And it starts with porn and masturbation, but it does not end there. It goes far beyond that because there's probably guys that watch this that don't masturbate or watch porn that much, but I promise you that some of these concepts are still intertwined into your current views of relationships and stuff. And by the way, guys, I'm not saying to be celibate. I think sex is actually a natural, healthy part of a relationship, and there's so many benefits to it. But understand that there is this dark side of it. And so what I actually recommend is that, honestly, I recommend you actually remove yourself for an extended period of time. So you can detach from the craving and the urges, because honestly, there was even, I'm back in New Jersey right now, but 2 years ago, I met this girl out here while I was in my relationship, and I was very attracted to her initially. I was very, very attracted to her initially. And if you've ever been in a relationship where you've been dating someone and then there's like a new girl that gets thrown into your life somehow that you really, really like, you start obsessing over the whole thing. And it even put the relationship at risk at one point. And even when we would fight, I would start thinking about all these different things I could do when I was single and all these girls I could have been with and all this shit. But I could tell you now, coming back to New Jersey, and I actually recently saw the girl not that long ago, it's crazy to see all of the women that I used to obsess over. And to be fair, they're very attractive women. These are like low-key, like influencer level women. If I actually like just look at them on paper and their followings and stuff, like they're influencers, right? So they're very attractive and aesthetic women, but it's crazy to see how much of a slave I was to the validation and the ideas around sex and these women. And so I just wanted to lay all this out on the table for you guys to bring clarity to this shit, because there's nobody that's talking about it on this level, not like to this depth or this raw with it. And I have no shame in stating all of this and maybe even going beyond this in a future video. You could let me know down below if like you relate to this or if there's different, maybe nuanced concepts around the stuff that you want me to go further into, because it's a very dense topic, honestly. But that's really what it was. Like I needed to detach, but not only detach, I needed to go to therapy and just not only, like I didn't go to therapy because I'm a sex addict or anything like that. I went to therapy because I have trauma from the death of my dad. I have trauma from my first girlfriend leaving me. We all have trauma to some extent in our lives. And it's not until you go full sober and full celibate and go to therapy and just remove yourself from it and get off of social media, which is a whole nother fucking thing, for an extended period of time, then you can start to slowly incorporate these things back into your life, but you have control over them. And then once you actually have control over them, you'll see your old self and the old identity you have, and you can look at that part and realize, damn, that would have been a girl I would have obsessed over. That would have been a girl I would have like fucking masturbated to. That would have been a girl that this would have happened. This was a girl I would have ended up sleeping with and would have gotten like so excited about. And again, there's nothing wrong with getting excited over women and maybe even fantasizing about women. But there's a healthy way to do it, and there's a wrong, messed up, fucked up, corrupted, dark side to this whole thing, and I wanted to just lay it all out on the table for you guys. So I hope this brought clarity to you and your own journey. You let me know down in the comments what you guys think about this. I have another video that was similar to this that performed very well. I'll throw a link to that video up if you guys want to check that one out too. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.